Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I want to welcome you to boot camp. And today we're going to pull the trigger on another video. This one is going to be after you've taken the Shahada. Now, probably if you're a Christian you don't know what a Shahada is, but it's like the profession of faith in Christianity. So here's some things that you would probably do after you took the Shahada. And it's enlightening for Christians to know just what a Muslim does every day. And this will give you a little idea. So here's 5 important things about Muslim life. I want to start off with number 1. And now this is Muslim life in America, because it's pretty much different if you're in a Muslim country, because you would pray at home in America generally and then get off and go to work. But in a Muslim country you would probably go down to the mosque that's on the corner, and they would have a call to prayer in the morning and you would hear it. And if you're a late sleeper, it would wake you up and let you know that it's time to pray. And it's called the Adhan. That call to prayer is called the Adhan. And it's given every morning for Fajr prayer. Well, in fact, it's given 5 times a day from the mosque. So, prayer. Let's start with prayer first, because after you become a Muslim, the first thing that's required of you is that you pray. Okay. And the prayer is 5 times a day. Think about that. But it's not just 5 prayers like a Christian would pray. These prayers are made up of what we call rakah. And these rakahs are, they differ. Like in the morning on Fajr prayer, you would pray 2 rakah. So that would be one prayer twice, and it would be made up of as you would start to pray, you would pray Surah Al-Fatima. That would be your first prayer, and you would finish with a surah or an ayah, which would be a chapter or a verse from the Quran. That would be the next prayer you would pray. And then you would go into your positioning, you know, your rakur and sajud and all that, and you would start all over again. So that would be twice. So it's not just a simple, you know, tiny little prayer. It's more complicated than that. Now, for most American Muslims that have just taken the Shahada, it's a complicated task. Now, I heard, you know, from Muslim people, oh, Islam is easy. It's easy. Don't worry about, God is not going to make something, you know, Allah is not going to make something more complicated for you. He's not going to make it hard for you. I keep hearing that. He's not going to make it hard for you. Well, already in a Christian mind, who maybe you guys pray for meals, maybe, and most Christians might. I don't know about now, if they would or not. But you might pray for meals, or you might pray when you need something. I don't know when you ever pray for just to plain worship God. Don't think that's ever done, in fact. But anyway, you may pray these simple prayers, a few of them. But now I want you to consider praying these 5 times a day, because that's not going to be easy, like we're told. For an American Muslim, that's going to be pretty hard, because now you got to make time. And these prayers, it's going to probably take 20 minutes to complete, 5 times a day. It could be more. I mean, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was noted to pray a whole surah, which was many ayahs, and that would take a long time. So you want to pray like the Prophet. And that's our command. In fact, that's what we strive for, to pray like the Prophet. And that prayer is also in Arabic. So now you took your Shahada, and you're a Muslim. Now your obligation is to pray, and pray 5 times a day, and that prayer is in Arabic. Okay, if you're going to pray like the Prophet, he prayed in Arabic, right? So you're going to pray in Arabic. So now you've got to learn pretty much a new language, because you're going to have to at least know the Al-Fatima, the opening prayer, and because that one's done every single time that you pray. And you're going to have to learn some surahs, and that's all going to have to be in Arabic. So it's not going to be easy for you, as they say. Now, I beg to differ. The guys that say it's easy for you probably don't pray or something. I don't know what they're thinking. Or Arabic is their native tongue, and it doesn't matter to them, because it's just like us learning something in English. But the fact that you have to learn all this material after you become a Muslim, there's a lot of stuff. It's a challenge for a lot of people. I have to tell you, it's a challenge. And it takes a long time to build that discipline to pray 5 times a day on time. It's going to take a lot of discipline on the part of the new convert. So prayer is your obligation. You have to do it. The next one is learning the Deen. Now, what do I mean by the Deen? It's learning the faith, learning the religion. You're going to have to learn the religion. And this also is not going to be easy, and it's going to take a lot of study. It's going to take some time. And it all depends, what level do you want to be at? Do you want to be just, you took the Shahada and that's it? Or do you want to be a little further along than that? So you got to learn the Deen, and then you got to learn, not only learn the Deen, the faith, the religion, but you got to practice it. So it's just like anything else. It's just like Christianity. If you became a Christian, you're going to have to learn about Christianity, right? And you're going to have to practice it, hopefully. And that's 2 things that you're going to have to do. Now, there's another thing, and it's, Muslims don't go to church on Sunday. There's no church on Sunday. And we don't call it church. So what there is there's a Friday prayer. And during that prayer, there's a khutbah. And a khutbah is simply a message that's given. It could be by a sheikh, it could be by a scholar, it could be by your imam, or in many cases it might be from an informed Muslim that's going to take over that responsibility. Because in a lot of smaller mosques, there's no imam. There's probably no sheikhs, which are teachers, and there's probably going to be, no scholars there, at least not in Islam. So you're going to get a khutbah, you're going to get a message, a sermon. Like if you were a Christian, you would be getting a sermon. That's what we call it, but it's called a khutbah. These things can last anywhere from 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, and the prayer time another 20 minutes. So yeah, within an hour, you're probably in and out. You could do extra prayer afterward, and a lot of people do that. They pray. So it's up to the individual, and it's up to the devotion of the individual, how far you want to go and what level you're at, And not everybody, just like in Christianity, if you're a Muslim, just like in Christianity, you're not at the same level as your neighbor next door. He may know more, or he may not care as much, and he may just be interested in Sunday morning and not Sunday school. And then there's another guy, he's interested in everything. He wants to be perfect in everything. So this is dependent on the individual. So these things you have to do: prayer, learning the Deen, the Friday prayer, and now we got what they call helping the poor. That's a big thing. If everyone in this country were Muslim and paid their 2% zakat, and zakat is giving 2% of your wealth, there would be no poverty. There'd be no hunger. There'd be no poverty. you know, there would just be no poor, because the poor would be taken care of. On the other hand, in this country, we collect a lot of money, and we got some social programs, and some of these programs help some people, and we know that. It's a good thing. But the Muslim zakat, and that's what you got to do as a Muslim. I mean, if you have over and above a certain amount of income, you get your 2%. I'm going to call it a tax, but it's 2% on your wealth. So over above a certain amount, which would be your living, So that is mandatory. Zakat is mandatory. Prayer is mandatory. I think learning the Deen ought to be mandatory, right? And then living, the fifth thing would be living the halal life. That would be concerning your diet and your food. And that means some important things, because in most religions, there's no restrictions for diet, or there are a few that the Christian faith that there are restrictions in diet. I'm thinking of Seventh-day Adventists just popped right in my mind, because they don't generally eat meat, but they do eat fish, some of them do. But anyway, these dietary restrictions, which would be no pork, carrion, I guess it's called, that's one of the things that you shouldn't be eating, although there is an exception. If you were starving and all you had available to you was pork, you could eat enough to survive, okay? But if there's other food available, that would not be something that you would be going for. So there's no pork and no alcohol. No, that's a big one in this country. Man, I remember, I grew up in Michigan and lived a while in Wisconsin, and they drink more beer there than water. I kid you not. The average person drinks a barrel of beer every year. I'm thinking that I think it's 40 or 45 or 50 gallons for every person that's a resident of that state, Michigan. So that means that some are drinking more than one barrel, and maybe some might not be drinking anything, So, our neighbors that come down from up north, from Michigan and Wisconsin, you see a smile on their face all the time. Now, there's two reasons for that smile. One is their face may be frozen yet when they get here, so that smile is, will fall out after a while that they're here. And the other reason is probably they're snockered. They've been drinking too much, and that's why they're smiling. So, I'm entitled to make this joke because I'm from there. But I don't think they would appreciate it if you weren't from there. But they know. They drink more beer there than they drink water. They eat more cheese and sausage, pork sausage and cheese, than any residents of any state in our union. And yet, they say, well, all that greasy sausage and that cheese, will kill you. If these things killed you, these people would be dead. And they wouldn't be living to be 70 years old or 80 years old or 60 years old even. They'd be dead. So these things are not, these things are what we call haram, which is forbidden. Even the wearing of perfume with alcohol into it, that's forbidden. Now, anything with alcohol, I'm not sure how they look at the wipes that they use for, doctors use to wipe your arm before they give you a shot. That's got alcohol into it. I don't know if there's an alternative to that or if they even consider that, but that's alcohol. So alcohol is pretty much a part of our civilization here. If everyone became Muslim, I tell you, that would be a hurting business right there, because there'd be no more breweries or wineries or distilleries. I mean, that would all be down the drain. So no pork, no alcohol, no tobacco. Now this is, some people say that that's makruh, which means that, well, that's permitted, but it's disliked. I think I disagree with that. I disagree with that, because I know too many people that smoked for numbers of years, and they're no longer around. I mean, I got friends that died from cancers of various kinds, lung cancers, and people I knew that sucked on those cigarettes. You can't suck smoke into your lungs and leave a tar residue in your lungs and have your body continually fighting that without getting some kind of disease. I mean, it's just common sense. Would you take a drop of poison every day? Well, you do when you smoke. You're taking a drop of poison. These tobacco leaves, when they're grown, are sprayed, you know, and the papers have, maybe 1,000 different chemicals making up the papers on these cigarettes, and 1,500 more in the tobacco, you know, by the time it's in the ground, and all the rest of it, and the way it's processed and treated, you know, for all kinds of problems with that mess, and people just keep sucking on cigarettes to no end. Did myself, did for a number of years, maybe, I might have smoked for maybe 10 years, and finally one day gave it up. You know, started coughing all the time, and you know, usually people got a cough. They call it a smoker's cough. I think it's actually from drying out your throat inside, you know, and irritates the membranes, and you get this croup with you all the time. I was married to a woman that smoked a ton of cigarettes every day, and would wake up in the morning and would croup for about 5 or 10 minutes, you know, and she'd have her cigarette and coffee, and then it seemed like she was all right. But it's a mess. Makruh? I don't believe it's makruh. I believe it's harmful for you. I think a lot of other people believe that too. I mean, you can go to the medical professions and you're going to find out that that's harmful for you. So no tobacco. Now, you know, I'm just about to the end of this right here, and we always want to know what's under your turban. So you can email me. You can send me an email at americanislam.ed@gmail.com, or you can send it to me at americanislam.ed@yahoo.com. And I appreciate hearing from you and your opinions on whatever I say. It makes a great deal to me. You know, I would enjoy reading it, and maybe we'll do a video just on your questions, and I'll answer your questions. So I hope you have a good day. I hope you stay safe. I hope you are protected from whatever's out there, the pandemic right now, the variants from the COVID they're talking about, which is another thing altogether, and saying that maybe the shots that you're receiving are maybe not going to cover, you know, might need some kind of a booster shot. I say whatever it is, if you're vulnerable, I say whatever it is, you get it, because, you know, I had an ex-wife that passed away with COVID, and of course we don't know the circumstances, the underlying conditions, but that was, and I hadn't had contact with her for a number of years, so I mean, I don't know exactly the full details onto it, but I do know that she died with it, and her sister has it right now, and her sister smoked for a number of years, and guess what she's got? She's got COPD. So let me tell you something. It's all this is a package, and write me. Tell me what you think. And Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings to you. Have a good week. Inshallah.